Alright, what's up guys? So we're back with another video today, but today's video is going to be a little bit different than the traditional ones that we do. So I've been asked several times on how I make my videos and what steps I take and all this and that. So I figured I would just do a video of me doing just that basically. So the video we're actually going to be making within this video is actually going to upload on Friday the 22nd. So you're going to see how I went about the whole process. So I use Adobe Premiere Pro. It's really, really simple. Sometimes it's not. I'm not sure why my mouse is spinning, but another good substitute for Premiere Pro is Adobe Premiere Rush. It's a lot more simple. It's basically the same program, just without a lot of the extra features in there. But Premiere Pro is not so bad once you get used to it. So I'm going to show you literally how I do everything. So let me just delete all of this out. All right, so when you open it up, you go to new, create the new project, name it whatever you want and all this and that. So in this case, it's the Twin Chronicles Chapter 1. You're going to come to this screen, basically. I'd like to keep this part over here on effect controls, and you'll see why in a little bit. So the first thing you want to do when you come over here is to import your media. So Control I, or you can go to File, Import, and go from there. So this is what we do. So I'm doing the Twins video. So where is it? Twins Chronicles. There's the video. All right. So after that, I'm going to click and drag basically over here. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't need to see the survivors that I got in the lobby, which are Ace, Yui, Fang, and Leon. So you guys have seen the intros that I've done over the past few weeks or whatever. You see it constantly changes and everything like that. So when I'm doing those intros, I'm actually doing them in Adobe After Effects, and I'll have to put that in a separate video for you guys so you can see what it is. But we're going to upload the rest of our intros and outros and all that, basically standard files. But a lot of those, when I'm picking those intros and whatnot, it's me basically picking on what's going to render the fastest. That's why sometimes you'll see me using like the variant titles one, which is, let me see, actually it might show me over here. The variant title, this one, the one where you see this. That one renders really, really fast. That's why you see me use it a lot. But nonetheless, see, we've already uploaded our outro. We've uploaded the intro. We need trailers for Ace, Yui, Fang, and Leon now. So I actually have all this in folders, and I get these intros that I use from them through basically Dead by Daylight, the trailers that they upload. So let's see, Leon, Yui, Fang, and Ace. Yui, Fang, and Ace. All right, so now we can delete this because we know who it is. So first thing I do, I drag and drop my intro over here, change. I like to make this smaller because then you can kind of see just how much time your video is actually taking. Of course, you can see the total time over here as well if you want to use that. So we drag that first, and then we kind of just drag the survivor trailers over here in any order that we want. So Leon and Ace. Now immediately, I want to point this out in case you don't know. This is the visual part. So when I click out here and you see this, you're seeing this part of this. But when I actually hit play and it's making the sound, you're hearing this part. Important to remember. So you see how her trailer has sound. This one does not, this one does not, this one does. So the first thing I do with these types of things is I right click, unlink, because that takes away that, and I delete the audio out because you don't really need it. Oops, that's wrong. Undo that with Control Z. Unlink. Unlink. And unlink. And then the next thing I do is I kind of go through here and shorten it. I want it to get about the same length all the way through for each one. So Fangs is about 3 minutes, or I'm sorry, 3 seconds. And I could see that when I clicked and dragged on the very edge, it shows it right here. So I kind of want to make Yui's about that duration, close enough. And then we just close the gaps. Close the gaps, close the gaps. And also, if your video does this, where it comes in small compared to like how this took up the full screen, this is done small. If you right click and scale the frame size, it'll fix that for you. So let's just do that for all of them, because more than likely they're all going to have that problem. I need to see, how am I going to make aces smaller? Actually, well, all right. So you can see I'm clicking and dragging, and it kind of shows me on the preview where it is. So I'm going to end it like right there. So I'm just going to click and drag the edge and over. All right. So another thing I want to show you guys, because you've seen, especially when I use this over here, you've seen it when I make it the rain noise and the actual rain on the screen. So I have packs that I download through several different websites. I think the biggest one, oh man, I can't think of it, but I'll put it in the description because I really can't think of what the name of it is. But they basically sell the overlays. So the one I'm going to add in now is the snow one. And I'm just going to pick which one I want. I like 17. So when I click and drag over here, as you can see, it comes with the visual and the audio. Now in Premiere Pro, they start you with 3 visuals and 3 audio. So basically whatever's happening in this point is going to show. Now the reason you can't see my intro right now is because this is not set to the right thing. So here's where the effect controls part comes in, because when I click it, if I change this blend mode to screen, you can now see the logo. So watch, I'm going to change it back to normal. And if I go back and hit play, you hear the audio of this, but you can't see this. And that's because this is not at the right setting. So all you're seeing is the snow, right? So if I click and drag it back, now if I change this to screen and hit play from the beginning, now you can see my intro, and that's how the snow overlay happens. It's the same thing with rain. It's the same thing with particles, planets, whichever one that I decide to use, basically. That's what it's going to do. The only problem is that they don't last the entire thing, and I can't drag it because it's only that set amount. So I have to bring in another one. Now, it doesn't matter how I overlap this at the top. I could technically just bring it right there where this ends and just edit it to where it comes out right here. Or what I like to do is I like to overlap it a little bit because it's easier with the snow ones and the rain ones, and I need to make sure I change this. That way you can't tell where the edit actually is. So if I hit play here, you can't exactly, unless you're like, well, you saw it there because it got brighter, but unless you're really paying attention, you're not gonna know. So it's the same thing with my music. So I'm going to import another file, but I have sound effects basically that I got from other packs. And when I think of what it is, I will put it down in the description. It may not be in there the day that this video uploads, but I will have it in there. You can feel free to inbox me if I do forget to do that for some reason. So that one was snow, but we're not looking for a snow effect sound, even though there might be one in here. Let me see. Snow. Snowboarder, snowmobile, snow chunks. So I have a lot of different sounds that I can play around with, but we're basically looking for the music that we want to play during the intro. So you guys might recognize this one, because if I click and drag it here, I'm just going to overwrite this basically because it had no sound anyway. You might recognize this from the Redeemed Huntress video. So now the music is playing as the intro is coming on. But that's not the track we want to use because we're just saving that for special videos, and that will come at the end of the month. Let's just go with, I think this is the one that I had been using. Let me take it back. Yeah, so you can hear that. And because this audio is so long, I can scroll to the end of it, which is right here, and just click and drag it back to the beginning. Or a simpler way, if I click up here to this point in the video, well, not this point, I'm sorry, this point, I can just come bring it here, click on this, hit Control K, and it cuts it. So I can basically delete this half and just drag this here. And then the music will stop as soon as this ends, like that. All right, well, we're playing as twins here. I don't know that I have a twins intro. If I don't, then I'd have to create one. No, I do not have the twins. So I will eventually have to create one, but I'm probably not going to edit that part in because it's literally going to be me doing the same steps here. So basically what I would do is I would drag the video here, I would just edit it, and then I would export it. So I'll get to all that in just a minute. So the other thing you guys see on my videos are these essential graphics. So you might recognize this font from when the survivors are killed and sacrificed, because it does pop up. All I do is literally edit out the text. So we're gonna kind of do this a little bit quickly here. Where is it? So we're gonna put this glitchy title in, because this is how we're going to introduce all the survivors. Oh. Glitchy title. Come on. Glitchy title. Glitchy title. So basically, I'm going to open it up. You're not going to see where I'm opening it up, but I'm opening up the twins video that we're editing now on a separate screen, because I need to see the names of the survivors so I can do their intros correctly. You probably hear me talking, just ignore that.
So I'm gonna leave this on screen for you really quick so you can read all of that.
Hold on. Alright, so, hold on, I went too far. Alright, so let's make that bigger so I can see it. So Yui was Le Happy Frog, if I can type. And then I would come to this point, click here. For Fangs, Ravy sucks. And then I would come and do Leon's, which was whatever that is. And then I would do Ace. And then his was CR. I should probably do it in all caps. CRS 20152. So while I have this selected, you don't want to just click and drag it like this, because with all these motions here, it's just going to be acting all crazy. So let me just mute this for a second. So you see how it's going just all over the place for a second there, and then it moves down here. That's what you don't want it to do. So the way you fix that, Control Shift C to change it back. The way you do that, I like to get rid of this. Let's come back to this person. Click this and then double click the screen, and then you can resize it, because now you're moving the whole motion graphic itself. So I'm going to move this person's up here. We're going to come over here and click this person. Oop, I did that wrong. Click that, double click here. So you're moving the entire motion graphic, because you're also resizing the motion graphic. Let's move this one up here. Same thing, double click. Let's move this person down here. And now for this one, because it has a trailer thing over here, we're going to actually bring this back, but we're still selected on the motion graphic itself. And then we're just going to resize it here and bring it over here. I mean, so we can just cover this. We're probably going to have to do something special, like a different one, because I know I used this in the previous one, because it'll cover all of that. So if I click this, yeah, I didn't think it was gonna let me select that. Hold on. Trying to get the whole thing. I don't know why it won't let me. Okay, well, I don't know why it won't let me, but yeah, we can just do that part. So I'm just going to come back here and delete. We're going to move on from that. I'll come back and fix this. You just won't see it in the video, because these may change. So basically what we ended up doing was this. When it plays, this is what you guys see on your end. You see the intro for this survivor, then it moves to this survivor, then this one, and then this person's. But we're going to come back and fix it. And then I'm also add in the killer trailer. I'm just not going to do it right here. Next thing, we come over here, we click and drag this. Now I want to be careful with this one, because it has my microphone audio here. So what I ended up doing is I'll come through here. Obviously I'm not talking here, so I would cut here, click and drag to about here because that's where they're coming in, and I start talking again, as you can see down here. And then, so actually, let's just go ahead and cut here. Let's hit this because this takes us back to the beginning. And then we can cut here. So now we have this chunk in the middle with no audio, and we're just going to delete. Now with this gap, we just click here, right click, ripple delete, and it brings it together. So you guys just see from when I went from here to here. And I usually cover that with one of these effects, video transitions, 3D motion, and I do the cute flip over, and I drag it in the middle. So you guys see.
So this should be interesting.
Let's mute that. You guys see this, basically. And then we go through the whole thing. I explain the perks, skip, skip, skip. So I like to let the heartbeat play out. Right there. So when the screen goes black, I'm gonna hit Control K again. I'm gonna cut. Mute that again. Bring it back all the way down until the game starts, which is right about here. So click on here again, Control K, delete, right click, ripple delete. So we drag this again. So once again, you guys see this. So you guys would hear the heartbeat. If I had the audio on, you guys would hear the heartbeat to go black, and then it starts the video itself. And then from there, everything else is, so right about here, I usually don't do the intro until I start walking. So it zooms in, walk, and then I go grab this, click and drag it up here because it's up here because it's going to show the same time as this. So if I click here, that's what you see. Same thing, click and drag. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to, oops, okay, it did it for us. So let's resize this. Not that small though. Click and drag it up here. Same thing with this. Resize this. Click and drag it up here. And what we end up doing is if we click here again, this is where I do the intro part. So this is where you see the Sub-01035 gaming, and then presents. And then here's where I would name the actual vehicle. You got to make sure that the actual video, you got to make sure that you drag this far enough to where that second text appears. Because if I don't, you don't see it yet because it's not at that part of the motion graphic, and then it doesn't get edited. So I drag it far enough to where episode name pops up. Then I change this, the Twins Chronicles, and then change this one, Chapter 1. So when I come back and re-enable this, this is what you see. And that's how that gets on the screen. Of course, you can click and drag the edges of this if you want to make this longer, shorter, however you want to do it. If I wanted it to show at the same time, I would just click and drag it up here with that. But then the text starts overlapping because they're in the exact same spot. So there's no reason for me to do that. And then I do that part. From here is where I would introduce the perks. I think I have to go back and listen to the audio, and I will do that. But I will show you a sample of how I do it. I like to use this ingredient title one. So under essential graphics and then browse, if you click and drag it like that. When I click here, this is what normally pops up. But if I edit it, so I click and drag this, delete it. This is where I would change the title. Let's say Hex Haunted Grounds. And then here is where I would do the description of it. So 2 trap totems, however you see it. So let's just say I put in all my text here, and let's say it took up a good bit. You guys know that I bring it over here. So this is another one of those where you have to vanish this, double click here so you can move the entire motion graphic, because what happens if you don't is that it bounces here, then here, then here, then here, then here, and wherever else I end up leaving it. So I like to drag it. I like to put it, re-enable this so that I can see if the text is covering the perks. That way you guys can still read it. And then of course you guys know, let's see, Control I usually put a picture of the perks. So Dead by Daylight. Lost train of thought for a second. Oh, perks, killer. and then I would just go find whichever one I'm looking. So in this case, it's Haunted Grounds. So click and drag. It imports here. Bring it over here. So let's move this. So you can see the perk is there. Click this, double click. And then I just resize it, and then I would drag it up here as, you know, how I would normally do. So that's how you guys end up seeing those perks. Let's delete this and delete this. So the last thing I'm going to show you, or one of the few last things, is we skip ahead. I usually skip ahead in the video to the point where they got hooked. And I'm going to show you how I changed that. We're looking. Actually, let's not skip ahead because then you guys see too much of the video. So let's just say this person was getting hooked and killed right here. This is where I would bring in this. It comes in like that. I click in the middle of it so I can see the full animation. Then I would put survivor has been, and then I would put sacrificed here. I'm not gonna, or eliminated is what I normally use. Then I come click down here. I change this color to FD0404 because that's the red that I always use for it. And then I would come back to this, click here, and then I would just drag it where I need to. So this is when you guys see that pop up. All right, so the last thing, we get to the end of the game. And by the way, when I do the we're done here, game over. Oops, you guys may have seen it. I use this as well. So I usually, this is where I type it in. We're done here. Game over. So it shows up like that. Same thing. So last thing I'm going to show you so that you guys completely have an idea of how I did the video is I bring in my outro now, which is this. Scale the frame size. Effects, let's do the flip over. So I've been told before that the audio on this was really, really loud one time and it did scare somebody. So how you fix this is you have to come over to it. So I like to click on this so I can see that I'm actually editing this and I'm not clicking out here because then I'm still editing this because this is selected. So click this, make sure this is highlighted because both the visual and audio. If you come over here to the volume part and just click and drag, you can just decrease the sound of that. And you can do that at any part. So if I wanted this to be lower, then I would just click here and I would just drag the sound down however low I wanted it to be. I would just keep hitting play and pause, stop, whatever, and dragging back so that I can hear the audio. Now, if I only wanted this part from here and here lower, then I would still click this. I would just hit Control K because, you know, it's going to divide that. And then I would click here and then I would lower the volume and then it will make it lower. The other thing that you can do, if you come over here to effects and audio effects. Where is it? I'm sorry, audio transitions works as well. Crossfade, gain and stuff like that. It'll make it quieter, and because this is one of those you have to drag. So if I drag the gain, if I drag it here and then change the volume, it'll make this part louder. If I wanted it to fade out, then I would drag the fade one here and it would fade out. But I like to use this feature better and just make the whole thing lower because it just works better. Let's Control Z and do that. So that's it. That's basically how I make my videos. A lot of it, like I said, depends on what time it or how long it takes to render. And I'll have to upload a separate video to show you how I do that in After Effects, which is down here. But to export it, let's say you went through your whole project, you got everything you wanted to do, you played it, it was perfect. Click here. I like to hit Control M because Control M brings up the render menu. Oh, it brings up this. When you bring up the export settings with Control M, you click this and the entire sequence. Then you would click this and you would just name it whatever you wanted to name it and put it in whatever folder you wanted it in. And then you would hit export. And then it's going to give you the time that it takes to export. So let me see if I can, for those of us that don't like to use the thing, because I don't usually come through here. Let's see. Maybe it's under sequence and then... Huh. I'm not sure. which menu that's under actually if you wanted to oh, it's right here. So file, export, and then media if you don't want to use the keyboard shortcuts. But that's it. That's how I edit my videos. So when I see this, and this, you know, I see this and this and this on my end. So if I take all this off, let's play everything. You guys see this. But when I'm editing, I see all of this.
Alright, so we're back with it.
So just like that. Just like that. And I'm going to show you guys the rain part too, so that you can see what I mean. Oh, that reminds me. If I click this, like maybe I just don't want it this bright, you can adjust that over here with the opacity. Just, you know, click and drag. Same thing as I was showing you with the volume, but I like to leave it at 100. I'm going to show you guys the rain effect too. God, I wish I could remember what company I got these packs through, but I bought a bunch of different packs for the overlays. For the media, Envato Elements is a really good website. It is subscription based, I won't lie. I don't remember how much it is. I just know I got the year version, but they Envato Elements. So this is Envato Elements basically. So if I wanted horror music, I would click music, horror music, or let's see, horror suspense, like basically keywords here, and then I would just pick one of these. I don't know if I can play the audio. I don't know if YouTube's gonna like that, but you would just play the audio, whichever one you like. You would just hit download. You have to figure out which project. So when you're doing your projects, you want to create the projects that you're doing, and the reason for that is for the license part of it, so that if YouTube flags you for a copyright claim, these guys will give you the license for it. I thought it was going to show an example there, but it doesn't. These guys will give you the license for it, and then you can provide that to YouTube to remove the copyright claim. I have not done that, so the few videos that I do have that have a copyright claim, I just leave it there. But in the future, yes, I will eventually come back and remove it all. So let's go ahead and close that. Let me show you this rain effect, cinematic, or was it? No, I think it was under the first one too. Nope, second. All right, so rain. I think I always use rain 16, so I'm gonna show you on this part what it looks like. So rain. So as you guys can see, you can't see any of this, but once I change it to screen, then you see it. So you guys see that. Now you see all the rain effects, and if I wanted to add in the actual thunderstorm part of it, I would just come back here, go to my sound effects, rain, and then I would just pick one. I usually do the rain and thunder one, so let's import that, mute. So you guys, let's start it here because this is where all the stuff. So you guys now hear this. Now you hear the rain audio, and now you hear the thunder. So that's how that works when I do that in my videos, just to let y'all know. So let's get rid of that, get rid of that. So yeah, like I said, once and you can see the total length of your video over here. This will obviously end up being longer when I do the final edits in here. This is just me showing you guys how to do it. When I'm done with this and it exports and everything, I like to open up this program, which is the Shana encoder. So I would go to file, add file, and then I would find my video, add it here, and then I would just hit browse and pick the folder that I want it to go into, and then I would hit start. But what I end up doing, is it quick settings? Yeah, if you change your settings to this, it renders it changes it to 4K basically. So basically you're just taking the video and still making it into a 4K video is basically what I'm doing when I do this step. So I can even skip this altogether and the video just won't be in 4K. That's not a big deal, but I know a lot of people like 4K. I know it's appealing when you see it on YouTube and whatnot. So when I render it through this, I'm putting it in 4K. So once this is done, you will see, it'll show the timer up here, how much longer you've got. I think down here it shows you where at in the video it's rendered. And then once this is done, I upload it to YouTube. I title it, schedule it, and then it releases to you guys. But that's going to be it for this video. I'm glad you guys came out and watched. I hope this answers a lot of you guys' questions that you did have about how I edit my videos and the programs. I know when I was first starting out, I was just looking for any program that would be good, basically, that I can just kind of jump into, do some editing with, and whatnot. So hopefully this, guys, gets you guys on the right track. Inbox me, like, subscribe, comment, wherever you want to do to get a hold of me. If you need to ask any questions or whatever, if I know it, I will more than happily help you, because for anybody trying to create content, this is ultimately what you want to be. This is ultimately one of the first steps that you want somebody to show you what you need to do, how you need to do it. And if I didn't cover it in this video, I probably do know it and I just didn't have to do it in this video, or maybe I forgot it. So like I said, inbox me, leave it in the comments. I will answer you as best as I can. If I have to drop another video, then I will. I'm talking about separate from the ones that I'm gonna show you in After Effects what I do, because After Effects does take a while, and I should tell you now, RAM is very important. RAM is very important when it comes to rendering this video, because it will take a lot less time if you have more RAM. That's also dependent on your computer specs as well. So I'm not saying that if you go out and get like 100 gigs of RAM that you're going to be rendering at lightning fast speed. No, I mean, there are other factors in that too. But RAM really, really helps. So keep that in mind. But all right, you guys, I appreciate you coming out. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.